Good evening, and welcome to Third Church of Christ Scientist of New York City. Let's begin with singing hymn number 75. God comes with succor speedy to those who suffer wrong, to help the poor and needy, and bid the weak be strong. He comes to break oppression, to set the captive free, to take away transgression and rule in equity. Number 75. I'll read from the Bible and from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. The subject of this evening's readings is stability. The Bible. Isaiah. The Lord is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. Psalms. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Exodus. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have truly seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land into a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. And God said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, The Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. Isaiah. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Mark. Jesus taketh with him Peter and James and John, and leadeth them up into an high mountain apart by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his raiment became shining, exceeding white as snow, so as no fuller on earth can white them. And there appeared unto them Elias with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. And Peter answered and said to Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. For he wist not what to say, for they were sore afraid. And there was a cloud that overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. And suddenly, when they had looked round about, they saw no man any more, save Jesus only with themselves. And as they came down from the mountain, he charged them that they should tell no man what things they had seen, till the Son of Man were risen from the dead. And when he came to his disciples, he saw a great multitude about them, and the scribes questioning with them. And straightway all the people, when they beheld him, were greatly amazed, and running to him, saluted him. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. And whithersoever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spoke to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. He answered him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tare him. And he fell on the ground and wallowed foaming. And he asked his father, How long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, Of a child. And oft times it has cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Jesus said unto him, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father cried out, the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, Thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried, and rent him sore, and came out of him. And he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, He is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand, and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, Why could not we cast him out? And he said unto them, This kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. Proverbs. To him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward. The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. I'll now read correlative passages from the Christian Science textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, by Mary Baker Eddy. The Hebrew lawgiver, slow of speech, despaired of making the people understand what should be revealed to him. When, led by wisdom to cast down his rod, he saw it become a serpent, Moses fled before it. But wisdom bade him come back and handle the serpent, and then Moses' fear departed. In this incident was seen the actuality of science. Matter was shown to be a belief only. The serpent, evil under wisdom's bidding, was destroyed through understanding divine science, and this proof was a staff upon which to lean. The illusion of Moses lost its power to alarm him when he discovered that what he apparently saw was really but a phase of mortal belief. It was scientifically demonstrated that leprosy was a creation of mortal mind and not a condition of matter when Moses first put his hand into his bosom and drew it forth white as snow with the dread disease, and presently restored his hand to its natural condition by the same simple process. God had lessened Moses' fear by this proof in divine science, and the inward voice became to him the voice of God, which said, It shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And so it was in the coming centuries, when the science of being was demonstrated by Jesus, who showed his students the power of mind by changing water into wine, and taught them how to handle serpents unharmed, to heal the sick, and cast out evils in proof of the supremacy of mind. When understanding changes the standpoints of life and intelligence from a material to a spiritual basis, we shall gain the reality of life, the control of soul over sense, and we shall perceive Christianity or truth in its divine principle. This must be the climax before harmonious and immortal man is obtained and his capabilities revealed. It is highly important, in view of the immense work to be accomplished before this recognition of divine science can come, to turn our thoughts towards divine principle, that finite belief may be prepared to relinquish its error. Divine mind rightly demands man's entire obedience, affection, and strength. No reservation is made for any lesser loyalty. Obedience to truth gives man power and strength. Submission to error superinduces loss of power. Truth casts out all evils and materialistic methods with the actual spiritual law, the law which gives sight to the blind, hearing to the deaf, voice to the dumb, feet to the lame. If Christian Science dishonors human belief, it honors spiritual understanding, and the one mind only is entitled to honor. Belief produces the results of belief, and the penalties it affixes last so long as the belief and are inseparable from it. The remedy consists in probing the trouble to the bottom, in finding and casting out by denial the error of belief which produces a mortal disorder, never honoring erroneous belief with the title of law, nor yielding obedience to it. Truth, life, and love are the only legitimate and eternal demands on man, and they are spiritual lawgivers, enforcing obedience through divine statutes. Moral and spiritual might belong to Spirit, who holds the wind in his fists, and this teaching accords with science and harmony. In science, you can have no power opposed to God, and the physical senses must give up their false testimony. Your influence for good depends upon the weight you throw into the right scale. The good you do and embody gives you the only power obtainable. Evil is not power. It is a mockery of strength, which ere long betrays its weakness and falls, never to rise. We walk in the footsteps of truth and love by following the example of our Master in the understanding of divine metaphysics. Christianity is the basis of true healing. Whatever holds human thought in line with unselfed love receives directly the divine power. Unselfish ambition, noble life motives, and purity, these constituents of thought mingling constitute individually and collectively true happiness, strength, and permanence. No impossible thing do I ask when urging the claims of Christian Science, but because this teaching is in advance of the age, we should not deny our need of its spiritual unfoldment. Mankind will improve through science and Christianity. The necessity for uplifting the race is father to the fact that mind can do it, for mind can impart purity instead of impurity, strength instead of weakness, and health instead of disease. Truth is an alterative in the entire system and can make it every whit whole. Faith, if it be mere belief, is as a pendulum swinging between nothing and something, having no fixity. Faith, advanced to spiritual understanding, is the evidence gained from Spirit, which rebukes sin of every kind and establishes the claims of God. In Hebrew, Greek, Latin, and English, faith, and the words corresponding thereto, have these two definitions: trustfulness and trustworthiness. One kind of faith trusts one's welfare to others. Another kind of faith understands divine love and how to work out one's own salvation with fear and trembling. Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief, expresses the helplessness of a blind faith, whereas the injunction, believe and thou shalt be saved, demands self-reliant trustworthiness, which includes spiritual understanding and confides all to God. The Hebrew verb to believe means also to be firm or to be constant. This certainly applies to truth and love understood and practiced. Firmness in error will never save from sin, disease, and death. Acquaintance with the original texts and willingness to give up human beliefs, established by hierarchies and instigated sometimes by the worst passions of men, open the way for Christian Science to be understood and make the Bible the chart of life, where the buoys and healing currents of truth are pointed out. In the following psalm, one word shows, though faintly, the light which Christian Science throws on the Scriptures by substituting for the corporeal sense the incorporeal or spiritual sense of deity. Psalm 23. Divine love is my shepherd, I shall not want. Love maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Love leadeth me beside the still waters. Love restoreth my soul, spiritual sense. Love leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for love is with me. Love's rod and love's staff, they comfort me. Love prepareth a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Love anointeth my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house, the consciousness of love, forever. When the illusion of sickness or sin tempts you, cling steadfastly to God and his idea. Allow nothing but his likeness to abide in your thought. Let neither fear nor doubt overshadow your clear sense and calm trust that the recognition of life harmonious, as life eternally is, can destroy any painful sense of or belief in that which life is not. Let Christian Science, instead of corporeal sense, support your understanding of being. And this understanding will supplant error with truth, replace mortality with immortality, and silence discord with harmony. Let's pray together silently for a few moments, and then pray aloud together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Let's sing hymn number 195, 195. Not what I am, O Lord, but what thou art. That alone can be my soul's true rest. Thy love, not mine, bids fear and doubt depart, and stills the tumult of my troubled breast. Number 195. This church is a branch of the Mother Church, the First Church of Christ Scientist in Boston, Massachusetts. We hold Sunday services at 11 a.m. and Wednesday testimony meetings at 7:30 p.m. We also have services in Spanish, Sundays at 12 noon and Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. All services are held in person and online, and all are welcome. Third Church offers Sunday school classes in person and online for children and teens. These free one-hour classes are available each Sunday. At Sunday school, students learn how much God loves them and cares for them. They also learn about the Bible characters and lessons and the healing power of prayer. For more information on times and classes, please send us an email, thirdchurch@thirdchurchnyc.com. Replays are available in English and Spanish on our website, thirdchurchnyc.com, of our Christmas Eve talk by Michael Muslin, CS, titled Being Drawn to the Christ. The talk features a journey through the Old Testament prophecies of the coming of the Christ. Replays are also available on our website, thirdchurchnyc.com, in English and Spanish, of a talk by Lona Ingerson, CS, titled The 23rd Psalm. The members of this church invite you to an in-person talk titled, What is Resurrection Thinking? By Brian Webster, on Good Friday, March 29th at 3 West 51st Street, just west of Fifth Avenue, in the Grand Salon Room, 3rd floor. The talk will begin at 7:30 p.m., preceded by inspirational Easter music at 7:15 p.m. You can also join us online at thirdchurchnyc.com. There will be live simultaneous Spanish translation. Conference phone call-in will be available in English. Visit our website, thirdchurchnyc.com, for Easter updates. Please join with us and speaker Brian Webster on Friday, March 29th, for an in-depth look into the resurrection and the thinking that helps us meet and master life's challenges. This meeting is now open for all to share experiences of healing and spiritual insights that prove God's presence and power in their lives. If you're listening by telephone and would like to speak, press *6 and wait until your line is unmuted. Please speak directly into the microphone of your telephone. Your message will be easier to hear if you do not use the speaker function. If you're watching via Zoom, you can choose the raise your hand icon or unmute yourself and speak.
Thank you for your readings. In this week's lesson, the definition of God from the glossary of Mary Baker Eddy's book, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, includes 7 synonyms: principle, mind, soul, spirit, life, truth, love. And when in Sunday school, the point was made to me, and I'm sure to many, many others, that these synonyms are like a prism that breaks apart the light and shows the various colors of what appears to be white light or colorless light. And it brings out the different aspects of God, just as a rainbow brings out the different colors of light. And it occurred to me as studying the lesson this week that those synonyms in the various sections were being brought out: the substance of love, the substance of spirit, the substance of truth. The lesson, of course, is on substance, and the substance is associated with the various synonyms. And in fact, at the end of the definition, of God. It's all intelligence, substance. When in life, you say, well, what are the goods? What are those things which make life worth living, and what brings joy and happiness, and what's worthwhile and lasting? And sometimes we all come up with different answers to those questions. But as one experienced life a lot, it's clear that to be one with the Father, to have that abiding sense of God's love, and that to express God's love is really that which brings lasting happiness and joy. In all the hymns, or many hymns, it talks not about being free from challenges, but being having dominion over challenges, and to come through them and to be strengthened. And God's love is most apparent in helping the helpless. The Beatitudes it can sometimes be overgeneralized by saying the have-nots will have. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit. And I'm not going to be able to finish that one. But in many ways, it's God's love is expressed in meeting the needs. And I'm very grateful for the teachings of Christian Science and the spiritual nurturing that the church does, and that constant sense of providing the inspiring ideas. This church has a thought of the day, that each day we get fed with the right spiritual idea to strengthen us and to prepare us and arm us, give us the right ideas with which to cope with that which may come. And I'm very grateful for the activity of the church.
Thank you.
For the beautiful readings this evening. Thank you. Also, the wonderful story which Moses, he faced when he saw the fire which is burning, and it did not extinguish. But the story, what it says, when Moses questioned God that, what can I say to the people where I'm going to the Israel, to deliver the Israelites from the Egyptians. So God said that I am that I am. This is a very wonderful concept. And, before that also, God said, go, I am, I'll be with your mouth what you have to say. That's also a wonderful concept of that. Thank you very much. Also, the wonderful statement from the Science and Health. Let Christian Science, instead of corporeal senses, support your understanding. Replace. It says replace mortality with immortality, and silence discord with harmony. This wonderful, the references and the teachings of Christian Science, which certainly uplifted my understanding, know the truth of being. And also it reminds me, one of the beautiful statements from the textbook. It says, Christian Science is a sovereign panacea, giving strength to the weakness of the mortal mind, strength from the immortal and omnipotent mind, and it lifts the humanity above itself to a purer desire. You know, this wonderful statement which helped me and healed me in many times. Whenever I confronted with many situations, life aspects, or any problems, or in this materialistic world, I always turn to this wonderful statement. I was very much comforted, I was very much strengthened, and certainly it lifted my enlightenment to the wonderful teachings of Christian Science. I'm so grateful. Thank you again to be here for this evening meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for those beautiful readings. I was also thinking about the story of Moses and just reflecting about how much trust and faith you have to have, I think, to do what he did. I mean, it took real faith in God. And I think about, even then there was like a precedent at that point for believing in God. But then I think back to like Abram before he was Abraham, and when he was just surrounded by idolatry and idol worship, and he was the sort of the first to be the recipient of this idea of the living God that's not a graven image, and I just think that Mrs. Eddy calls him fidelity in our glossary for a reason, and sometimes I think that word faith, or that word hope, especially in the English language, has come to mean something that has a connotation of being sort of hoping against hope, or hoping for something that may or may not happen. But the dictionary actually defines it as confident expectation. And when I think of the stability and what that really means, what gives us stability is that sense of confident expectation in God. And I remember that used to feel that it was really hard for me to trust not knowing. But, Paul says faith isn't faith if we're, if we know the outcome. Faith by its definition is that we're giving up that sense of, the unknown and the human outlining, and found in my experience that when I trust God, there's always a resolution, and there's always a way that so much better than anything that we could have come up with. I mean, certainly nobody could have ever predicted the parting of the Red Sea, for instance. And so I think God always has those surprises, and always has those ways of, those resources for us when we need them. And when we're willing to, go on the full journey and not hold back. And so I think that's always such a beautiful reminder and for us. And I know that's where that stability comes from, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your testimonies and your supportive prayers and your presence at this meeting. Let's conclude by singing hymn number 96. The words are a poem by John Greenleaf Whittier, and I'll read the whole poem. He stood of old, the holy Christ, amid the suffering throng, with whom his lightest touch sufficed to make the weakest strong. That healing gift God gives to them who use it in his name, the power that filled the garment's hem is evermore the same. So shalt thou be with power endued, like him who went about the Syrian hillsides doing good and casting demons out. The great physician liveth yet, thy friend and guide to be. The healer by Gennesaret shall walk the rounds with thee. Number 96.